Hello and welcome. Today we'll be going through a bit that might really be enjoyable to all the Night Elf players out there, and that's the Kaldorei and the Well of Eternity. 10,000 years before the orcs and humans clashed in the First War, the world of Azeroth cradled only one massive continent surrounded by infinite raging seas. The landmass, known as Kalimdor, was home to a number of disparate races and creatures, all vying for survival amongst the savage elements of the waking world. At the dark continent's center was a mysterious lake of incandescent energies. The lake, which would later be called the Well of Eternity, was the true heart of the world's magic and natural power. Drawing its energies from the infinite great dark beyond the world, the well acted as a mystical font, sending its potent energies out across the world to nourish life in all its wondrous forms. In a time, a primitive tribe of nocturnal humanoids cautiously made their way to the edges of the mesmerizing enchanted lake. The feral nomadic humanoids, drawn by the well's strange energies, built crude homes upon its tranquil shores. Over the time, the well's cosmic power affected that strange tribe, making them stronger, wise, and virtually immortal. The tribe adopted the name Kaldrai, which meant children of the stars in their native tongue. To celebrate their budding society, they constructed great structures and temples around the lake's periphery. The Kaldorei, or Nidos as they would later be known, worshipped the moon goddess Elune and believed that she slept within the well's shimmering depths during the daylight hours. The early Night Elf priests and seers studied the well with an insatiable curiosity, driven to plumb its untold secrets and power. As their society grew, the Night Elves explored the breadth of Kalimdor and encountered its myriad of denizens. The only creatures that gave them pause were the ancient and powerful dragons. Though the great serpentine beasts were often reclusive, they did much to safeguard the known lands from potential threats. The Night Elves believed that the dragons held themselves to be protectors of the world, and that they and their secrets were best left alone. In time, the Night Elves' curiosity led them to meet and befriend a number of powerful entities, not the least which was Cenarius, a mighty demigod of the primordial forestlands. The great-hearted Cenarius grew fond of the inquisitive night elves, and spent a great deal of time teaching them about the natural world. The tranquil Kaldorei developed a strong empathy for the living forest of Kalimdor and reveled in the harmonious balance of nature. Yet, as the seemingly endless ages passed, the Night Elf civilization expanded both territorially and culturally. Their temples, roads, and dwelling places stretch across the breadth of the Dark Continent. Ajara, the Night Elf's beautiful and gifted queen, built an immense, wondrous palace on the well's shore that housed her favorite servitors within its bejeweled halls. Her servitors, whom she called the Quel'Dorai, or Highborn, doted on her every command, and believed themselves to be greater than the rest of their lower caste brethren. Though Queen Ajara was loved equally by all of her people, the Highborn were secretly hated by the jealous masses. Sharing the priest's curiosity towards the Well of Eternity, Ajara ordered the educated Highborn to plumb its secrets and reveal its true purpose in the world. The Highborn buried themselves in their work and studied the well ceaselessly. In time, they developed the ability to manipulate and control the well's cosmic energies. As their reckless experiments progressed, the Highborn found that they could use their newfound powers to either create or destroy at their leisure. The hapless Highborn had stumbled upon primitive magic and were now resolved to devote themselves to its mastery. Although they agreed that magic was inherently dangerous if held irresponsibly, Ajara and her Highborn began to practice their spellcraft with reckless abandon. Cenarius and many of the wizened Night Elf scholars warned that only calamity will result from toying with the clearly volatile arts of magic. But Ajara and her followers stubbornly continued to expand their burgeoning powers. As their powers grew, a distinct change came from Ajara and the Highborn. The haughty, aloof upper class became increasingly callous and cruel towards their fellow night elves. A dark, brooding pale veiled Ajara's veil, brooding pale veiled Ajara's once entracing body. She began to withdraw from her loving subjects and refused to interact with any but her trusted highborn priests. A young brazen scholar named Furion Stormrage, who had spent much of his time studying the will's effects, began to suspect that a terrible power was corrupting the highborn and his beloved queen. Though he could not convince the evil that was to come, he knew that the night elves' lives would soon be changed forever.